this first part is more just kind of showing you and telling you kind of what you got, and then we're going to get to the part where we're going to demonstrate the software that came with this, the Easy Interactive. Okay. At that point, when you're going to get to come up and do some stuff on the board. Okay. All right. So, if you want to follow along with this presentation, this is a bit.ly. If you have your laptop, you don't have to go to this now. You can just watch for today. This presentation will also be shared in your campus group messages. Okay, so you can write this down if you want and access it later, or you can look for it in your group messages. All right? Everybody have that? It's just bit.ly/FerrellAV. You good? All right. The hardware that came with the Bond, which is your classroom standard, was a laptop, an external DVD player, a docking station, a monitor, a mouse and keyboard, and then the projector. All right? If you are missing one of those, or you didn't get like your 2 pins and stuff, you definitely need to let your CTM know, and possibly even put in a help ticket. Okay? Everybody who got this is your package, so you all should have received this. Okay? These are some links that you can access about your laptop. Right? A couple of these are lynda.com videos, so hopefully you're familiar with lynda.com. Lynda.com, you can get to it from the AIC website, and they have all kinds of instructional videos on all kinds of topics. The links to these are if you're not familiar with using Windows, so maybe you love MacBooks, which that's usually what our elementary teachers love, but we're moving away from that, and so we're sending out PC laptops. So these are some guides to help you with that. One of the ones, if you don't look at the other two, because you think I'm pretty good with this, you might want to refer to the quick reference guide. That's kind of like a cheat sheet that shows you kind of shortcuts and stuff if you don't know about some of the right-click features and things like that. Okay? When you dock your laptop, you may or may not have practiced with this already. On your docking station, you have an eject button and a power button. The good thing about these docking stations, it's different from the first ones that we sent out. The first ones, the eject button was on one side and the power button was on the other side. They looked almost identical and they were the same size. So almost every time I went to demonstrate to undock, guess what I did? I powered it down. And you know, that's just, then when you're waiting for it to power up, it's like it takes 5 times longer than it ever has. The good thing with your docking stations, your eject button is a big button, and your power button's a little one. And it's much easier to tell the difference between the two, so that's a good thing. To dock your laptop, sometimes you just have to practice with it. You just need to line it up and you push it in. The good thing is when you have your laptop docked in your docking station and you leave that docking station in one place, then you're not having to mess with the cords to be plugged in certain places and things like that. Because all you do is you dock it and you undock it. You don't have to mess with any cords. So like for today, if you wanted to bring your laptop down, you could have just undocked it, brought it here, and then when you go back, you just dock it again, and your cords are still plugged in the back. Okay? Just a couple of things to remember. When you plug in the audio cord, make sure to plug it in the audio out. Otherwise, you might not hear anything. Make sure there's a USB in the dock because that's what's going to control your interactivity. If you're ever noticing that your board is not letting you interact with it, the first thing you want to do is check that USB cord. If it's securely plugged in, there's a chance that it's gone bad and it'll need to be replaced. A lot of the problems that we have, and this used to happen a lot with the Promethean boards when we had those, if a Promethean board quit working, it was almost always the USB cord, and they just need to order a new one. Okay? We're going to give a quiz at the end over all of this and make sure. Just kidding. The good thing is this is always something you can refer to later. You know, hopefully nobody would come in and decide to like unplug everything, but strange things do happen sometimes. So if it does, you can always refer to this if you want to try to do it. What we really discourage is you trying to figure out connections on your own if you're not looking at this, because one wrong plug-in or one wrong thing can completely kick you out of everything. All right. So, but this is a reference guide if you just see one cord or if you want to check or something. Okay. Obviously, if you're having major board issues or you were to come in one day and everything was undone, I'd say put in help ticket for your CTM. Okay, but this just kind of lets you know what it's looking like, and just if you're curious what they all are, I have to say that during this AV training, I learned a whole lot more about VGA cords and HDMI, stuff that I didn't really even know that I wanted or needed to know, but I now know, and I do need to know. And so there's different setups. If you notice down there on the bottom, we've got a picture of a document camera. That's a ladybug. Document cameras were not included with the classroom standard, so you work with what you have. If you don't have one or something happens with yours, and it's a campus decision on how you're going to handle that. Some campuses are opting to replace them with other dot cameras or hover cams that are on the bid list. Some are going the iPad route and using a stand. So it's just up to you, but that would be a campus decision. You could certainly talk to Gabby if you were needing some ideas with that, and she can help you out. But the good thing is, all the document cameras, we have a bunch of different kinds of document cameras in the district. The good thing is they were able to find drivers or software for all of those document cameras. So as far as I know, there's not a document camera that we have in this district that cannot be connected some way. Okay? We don't go into that with the training, because again, this training is just to kind of give you a little review what you should have gotten, basic things like that, and then we're going into the software. But for the document cameras, if you need yours connected, you need to get with your CTM, because they were given access to all of those drivers and things. Okay? They don't all connect the same. So what I'm kind of telling you is if yours isn't connected, I wouldn't try to connect it on your own, because it has to have something else possibly with it. Okay? But the good thing is we've made a lot of progress in getting those connected, because we definitely see the value in those. So they weren't put in because we don't think teachers need them anymore.
Dylan, come to the front office, please. Dylan?
It just kind of came down to money and what could be provided for every classroom. All right? This is kind of about what I was just talking about with the document cameras. In most cases, your connections are going to be running through that document camera. Depending on it, there's different things. You have a wall plate that should be somewhat close to your setup that things are plugged in. Some things have to be switched to the wall plate, some you just switch it on your computer, and some you just switch on the document camera. Depends on how it's connected. And again, the last bullet there, I already mentioned this, your CTM will be your best resource for that. Okay? Volume control. In just a minute, we're going to talk about the remote. And one of the things that you will not ever use on your remote is the volume. Your volume is going to be run through your laptop or your computer. You don't ever want to do your volume up and down with the remote. What can happen with that is if you have that up, it can interfere, and you can have like a buzzing sound or something, okay? The only time you want to test the volume on your remote or use these buttons is if you click it, you want to just check it every now and then and make sure it's still set down to 0. Okay? I think, like we checked this one earlier, it was up a little bit. She might or might not have been having feedback if she ran it, but we just encourage you every now and then to check it and make sure it's down at 0. Okay? Because your volume is going to be running through the connected device, which is your laptop. You don't have to have additional speakers. Your speakers are now in your ceiling. There is an audio cord, and again, we've already talked about make sure that audio cord's in the audio out. But if you're not disconnecting those cords, then it's going to be good to go. All right? There's a picture of what you got. The BrightLink. It's a 595 WI. If you ever want to look up information on it, you know, on a Saturday, if you think, hey, I want to read up on my projector. We have, the WI right there is going to tells us that we have with the interactivity, because that's what we're putting on all the elementary campuses. To make sure that the board is online and working, all of your lights must be on. If you look at the little white box that's mounted there, you've got some lights on it that need to be on. And that's a picture of it right there. This is the infrared sensor, and that's what allows you to touch the screen on the board. And the blue light tells us that it's working. You should have also gotten the black sticky strip down here. Okay? You cannot block that. Okay? Notice that this is free of anything. That's how yours needs to look. So if this was your prop-up library books that were left out, no more. Or your holder for all the extra pencils and things like that, you just don't want to have anything down here possibly interfering with the black strippy piece. Okay? Everybody hear that?
Mm-hmm.
So are you going to have anything in your tray?
No.
It's amazing how we've had these trainings and we go in rooms and people are like, this won't work. I'm like, look at your tray. It's full of stuff. And they have magnets all over the place, which we're going to get to that too. And then it's, well, we were never told that. So that's why I'm clarifying. Are we going to have anything in the tray now?
You have things to the left or the right of it?
As long as you're really out of the field, we'll talk about that in just a minute when we look at the magnet thing. Black boxes on the projector. You may not be able to see them from where you're seated right now, but on top of your projector, you've got two black boxes. Nothing really special about this. One's a sound amplifier and one is a USB extender. Okay. The remote. This remote is not really going to be used much. However, you don't want to lose it because you might need it for certain things. It's basically your power on and off if your projector's mounted too high or you can't reach it. So you would use this to power on and off. And then there's a couple of other things that you might use it for. You can put your projector in sleep mode. The sleep mode is simply the AV mute button. This is great because let's say you're in the middle of a lesson and all of a sudden you have announcements or something come on. So you can find the AV mute button. It's down here at the bottom. When you click it, it turns your screen black. So it's muting your AV, which in this case, it's blacking it out. Okay? Or, you know, when you put students to work and they start working on it and you're trying to give them an additional, and you're like, okay, look up here, and they won't. Well, you can just blacken the screen and they're going to. So I love that little thing. And then you just click it again to turn it back on. Okay? Another thing that you might use is the freeze button. The freeze does exactly what it says. It freezes the screen. Okay? When might you want to freeze your screen? Can you think of a reason? Okay, good. And do you know why you would want to freeze it then? Very good. Because when you freeze it, let's say you've got morning work going and your laptop's connected up here. It's 10:10. What do you need to have done? Like in, is it still 10:15? Okay. Oh, in 5 minutes you've got to get attendance done. You don't want them to see as you're logging in and stuff. You say you freeze the screen. They're not going to see that. I can come over here to my laptop, and if you just look this way, see, I'm advancing on other screens, but you're not seeing it.
Okay.
So I could hop out of this and go do something. Okay? Now, you could disconnect your laptop and move it somewhere else, but it's already hooked up right here. So just freeze your screen real quick, do what you need to do, and then join them again.
Where's that button?
It's on your remote, and it's called freeze.
Oh.
These are the buttons for your remote.
Yeah.
Power on and off, and Shelly's going to show you. You're going to show them something else. Okay.
I get excited about the freeze button and the AV mute button. But I think I'm going to have to use a pen to show
Yes.
it.
And I don't know. Do you know I only have one pen, Diane?
Okay, I'll get.
I don't need the other one. I want you to know I didn't lose the other one. I never had it. I never had it.
So Lori's talking about all the great features that you have on the remote, and Tasha's saying we really don't need to have the remote. All of those features are available to us on the screen right here. So if I don't have my remote handy or don't want to use it, all I have to do is tap the board, and the menu for the remote comes up. I can turn the projector off and on from this button. We can be having a class discussion or doing something, and we can do the AV mute. Remember the one she talked about where it went black? The AV mute looks like this one. And if I want to bring it back, touch the board.
So
No.
when you mute that, does that release the computer too if you're watching a movie?
You lose all sound, you even lose the projector fan.
But the movie.
But the
is not
movie
playing.
would still be playing.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So if you think about this muting, is really just muting your board. But yeah, because somebody asked that at one of my first trainings. I was like, I don't know. Let's test it. We tried it with YouTube, and when we did the thing, it kept playing in the back.
Another nice thing is that you also have the freeze button, so you don't need to keep the remote handy. It looks like two parallel lines. You can tell the freeze button is on because you'll see the word freeze up at the top of the board. Tap it again, and you're good to go. She already talked about how you don't want to control the volume through here. You always want to control it through your device. There are some other buttons that probably you won't ever use. We ask you not really to mess with this button, but I'll touch it right now so you can see what it is, because you're going to be tempted. You aren't going to want to touch it. But when you touch it, what it does is it brings up a list of sources. And if you accidentally click on something else, all of a sudden you're not going to be displaying what you want it to display, and you're going to wonder how you're going to get it back. So best not to mess with that one. And then, of course, you have like the automatic zoom button that you're used to. Yes?
On the, if we hit the pause button, what looks like a pause button to me, and if we get the freeze, will it stay frozen until we hit the pause button again, or if you touch it anywhere?
You have to touch the
Okay.
freeze button again.
Okay.
Okay. So one of the things about the remotes is you really won't be using it a lot. If you're working from the front of your board, you don't need to have that remote handy. Everything is right here with you. You notice it auto hides. So if I want to bring it back, I have to tap the board to bring it back up. Okay? Love that feature. She's
That's why I was standing here behind because it follows the person with it. So I'm like, I'm trying to get it to go to the board without looking odd up here. I wasn't really trying to give her a hug.
Let's see, where did we go? Because I know you advanced a little bit.
I did.
What do we want to talk about?
Right
Let's
there.
see.
Okay, go forward.
All right. So pens, you should get a case with 2 pens in it, and it has a magnet on the back. So if you want to keep it on the board, please keep it about 6 inches away from either side of your board, about a palm print. Try to keep it that much away. And the pen has a sensor on it. One of the things we noticed, and we were working with even at a school today, is that if you do keep your pens close, point the sensor this way when you put them in. Okay. We saw some things happening with calibration and weirdness, so that can help by keeping the pens pointed away. Yeah,
We've learned a lot during these AV trainings and things. It's like, oh my gosh, never thought about that. And what she's talking about, oh, go ahead.
What?
No, go ahead with the pens. We'll
Okay.
stay with pens.
The other thing is that each of your pens, and you should have 2, one's going to be orange, one's going to be blue. That doesn't mean the color that they write. You can actually pick when the pens are working what color you want the pens to write in. They use rechargeable batteries. You should have a charger, and it's skinny.
There's a picture of it on the screen.
Wait, they're different.
Oh,
So you might have them.
Mine looks like that.
Does it?
Yeah.
Does it have room for 2, not 4? Because yours.
I don't remember.
We'll just know it'll look
You
similar.
should have one, and if you don't have one, like Lori was saying, contact your CTM. The only batteries you get are the batteries in the pen, so you do need to recharge them. Okay? And in a pinch, you can put regular batteries in there, it's okay. But I do have we'll get to that later. What did you want to say about?
Nothing. It was more the board thing. We'll get to that about the space stuff.
Try and.
Can you swipe it? We'll let you swipe. Oh, no, this is the touch.
Yeah, it's giving us a little trouble. Okay, we talked about the menu bar there. So we're going to move on and we're going to talk about the software that comes with the projector. Well, I did talk a little bit about magnets right here, but go ahead.
Well, let's just add in because it could be somewhere. I just can't remember. You were asking about like the stuff in the tray. One thing you want to remember about this is while we're seeing this image here, the image that's coming from here for the sensor box is really like this. It's coming out like this, okay? So that's why we have you do it away from it, because even though you think you're not in that field, if it's coming out like this, it could. So if your board ever starts acting wacky, then just know, check and see, do you possibly have a magnet too close? Do you possibly have a piece of paper? We were in one room, and as we were sitting there talking, it kept popping up the keyboard. And I'm like, are you touching something? What has happened? We couldn't figure out. Finally, we realized she had, like way over here, a piece of flat border paper, like a border trim. That little flat piece of paper, it was catching it and thinking it was a touch, so it was trying to do something. So by simply moving it over like an inch, all of a sudden everything worked perfectly. So that's another little thing to check for. Make sure not only just magnets, but paper. So you may have a magnet far enough away, but you may have hung up a flat piece of paper. If you've got it too close, it could think something's trying to do something. Okay?
You'll learn your board.
Yes.
The sensitivity.
Because
of your board.
we learn that all the time. She's a question back there. Yes.
I was just gonna say that also happens, like, I've had the kids write on the board and they always put their hand
Yes.
on it while they try to write, so you
Yes.
have to remember to like keep it upright instead of, like,
Yes.
some of them write like that anyways.
Yes, because it'll try to grab. Yeah. Yes,
They're
that's true. That's a good
shadows,
point. Thank you.
The only other thing I wanted to mention is, and you can see very clearly this board has been kept very, very clean, very neat. If you're using marker board writing on it, you want to make sure that you keep it nice and clean. It'll interact, it will affect the calibration of your pen, and your pen won't work right. You start to wonder what's wrong with your pen.
The thing about that debris that, dry erase markers leave behind.
Okay. So we're going to talk a little bit about the software that the projector comes with, and then we'll talk about the Easy Interactive software. Anybody been using your projectors? Okay, you having some fun with them? Is this what you've been using?
Yeah.
So you're familiar with this?
No,
No, you've been using something else?
I've just been using it to show things from the computer.
Okay, just using it to project?
as a
Okay.
projector.
Oh, well, get ready because you're about to.
Oh, I'm excited.
We are
This is
gonna
gonna be
rock
really
this.
good. Okay. So the projector comes with some software already on it that you can start using right now, okay? And I'm not sure if we want to be on this slide or that slide. Great question. Let's go, if we can kind of go live, maybe it's better than, yeah, just put the desktop on. Good question. She said, how did I find that? How did I get that? As soon as you turn your projector on, that's going to be working for you. And if you want to use it, all you have to do is tap your screen. Okay? And right now, my finger is blue. My finger touch is working. Magic happens. I'm not going to try and figure out what happened, but it's working. So we're going to go with that.
Why won't it let you change to a select?
My finger to me.
See, shouldn't something be in that white box above the pins?
Which one?
Do we not have like an arrow, like a pointer select?
Not in this one.
But even in the mouse mode, I didn't see it. Shouldn't we see it in the mouse mode?
PC Interactive.
Mm-hmm.
No. Okay.
I don't know why it wouldn't
We'll,
let me
we'll,
do that
we'll
either.
go
Yeah,
through it.
there's-
Yes.
Stupid question. To use the pen, you have to hold that button down.
You do not.
Oh,
What
okay.
this button will do is it will tell you whether or not the battery is charged, but
Okay.
also, if you're having some issues trying to get the pen to work, I learned this week as well. If you click this button, that sort of helps it connect to the projector
Okay.
and interact a little bit better.
But other than that, you don't touch it while you're writing.
No, and also this pen, I believe, brings up right click.
A right click.
It acts like a right click.
Yes, if
when
you do
it's
that,
out.
it could bring up your right click.
So there I just did a right click.
Okay.
Brings up the menu.
Okay. By pushing the button.
Yes.
Okay.
So what I'm in now is I'm in PC interactive mode. You can use your projector in PC interactive mode or PC free mode. I'm going to try not to confuse you, and Lori help me do that because we're entering into a confusing phase. So in PC interactive, the pen can be like a mouse, okay? And that's why it works with the right click. And I don't need to go to my computer. I don't need Lori to go and open up a new
Oh,
tab.
great.
I don't need to be at my computer. Still not letting me. Okay. We'll get that worked out.
Nice.
But with the pen, I can go ahead and I can go to any website I want. Well, let's see. If I can if I get my keyboard bar to go away. If I want to go to another website, again, I still don't have to go to my computer. I can bring up the on-screen keyboard. Is it getting good now?
Yes.
I can bring up the on-screen keyboard, and I can go ahead. You can bring your little one up, right?
And then an hour later, you will be
And I can go to websites. Now start thinking about this. Do you ever have your students go to interactive websites where they click on things to play games, drag and drop? This could be a center where kids are doing that at the board. I feel like taking them to math playground, but we got a little, we just can't do it.
But think about it, if
But
you
just
are
think
covering
about it, you
people,
can
you
do it.
have some time at the end of the day, you could just open up a blank document and tell them, okay, I want you to come up, you're gonna type your name. Now, no, they're not practicing their hands on the keys, but what are they learning? They're learning what those darn letters are on the keyboard. And that's what they need to know as much as learning the placement of their fingers, so.
The keyboard icon always down there?
Yes, you're gonna find it right here. You can customize it and move it other places, but by default, that's where you're gonna find it. And I'm in Chrome, using Chrome. Now, I'm in PC Interactive, and I'm able to use my pen as a mouse and go to websites and do all different kinds of things. But I can do even more. Let me get, I want my, this goes here. Let me make sure, yeah.
That was working earlier.
Okay. So I brought up a website. Maybe this website is a PDF of something, or there's an article, or there's something you want to discuss. You can annotate on top of the website. Now, it's writing on top of it, okay? And if I want to erase it, have the next group come up and work on it, it all goes away.
Maybe you had a big picture up and you said, okay, you can come and find a square in this if you're teaching shapes. Or if you're teaching upper grades and you're doing parts of speech, come up and find the subject and predicate, or nouns and verbs, or whatever you're.
So in this toolbar, and is anybody not familiar with how this works? Do we need to do some explaining here? Yeah. Picking your colors, right? You're going to pick your color, and you're going to pick how thick or thin you want your line. Down at the bottom, there's a little key that will tell you what color your pens currently are. I have the blue pen, so what color am I writing in? Oh, red. And if I had the orange pen, I'd be writing in black. And if I change the color, it'll change it there. So it's a little key to help you know. And I can also make the pen the eraser. I don't want to though. I want to write with it. And right now my finger will write in the color blue. Okay? We notice how this keeps going away? You can pin it down. There's a little pin. You can pin it down so it doesn't go away. And you also have the ability, Lori's over there, we could get into sort of a situation if there were two kids at the board, which that's a great thing. Ooh,
So I can grab it here.
I want it back.
This is a big difference from Promethean. If you ever use Promethean boards, you had to decide which one. This you can pick and choose. So that's a nice thing.
Okay. And also, that lends itself to having more than one student up at the board and working. The end game is to have kids doing this stuff. So the ability for them to be kind of spread out, not side by side. But you know, with the 6 points of touch, you could actually have as many as 6 kids working on the board at once. Okay.
But just say you don't do what I did when we went through this training. This is really just telling them stuff. We were going to the training like a year ago, forever ago. And so we were getting up to demonstrate the 6 points of touch. So I'm like, I'm going to choose blue for my touch. And so the guy doing the training, he's like, it can't identify your finger from her finger, so whoever touches it first, that's the color it's going to be. I was like, well, that's great to know. So I guess I thought it was like going to take my fingerprint or something. I don't know. So just know the finger touch is going to be the same for whoever's using their fingers. You can only differentiate between your finger and the pen.
Yes. So quick question for you. Let's say the battery dies. Does the pen work?
Does your finger have a battery?
Right. It will work as a point of touch, but you will not be able to differentiate the color. Whatever color it was on when it died, that's what it's going to be.
And if you're up at your board and standing close like Shelly, you'll find your elbow can do
It's
things.
a point of touch. Your head.
Your rear, whatever you're close. You're a little close.
Oh no.
As soon as you break that plane,
The kids know.
it's coming. So, in the interactive mode, you can get on the internet, use your pen just like a mouse, and you can annotate right on top of whatever is being displayed. Probably most of you are using the whiteboard feature. The whiteboard feature, this one is the computer one. To switch to the whiteboard feature, I get this. Is this what you guys have been using?
Yes.
Okay. And you found the backgrounds?
Yes.
So you can put the different backgrounds.
Where'd you get those?
Okay, good question. Where'd you get it? There's a little button right here that looks like
Okay.
a picture, and I can click and choose what background.
Good.
That's some nice colors to pick from. Right? You can do whatever they want. And you can pick your thicknesses. Go over here. I'm going to change that back to white so you can see that. Yes.
Okay, so when I was trying to use the lines paper,
Yes.
because my writing is atrocious, and also I have second graders in the room with me, I wasn't on the lines.
And that can be an issue with calibration.
Oh, okay,
Okay.
okay.
So when I write,
If I were to type, if I were to use the keyboard with the paper, yes or no? Oh my gosh,
That is pretty.
Wow, you have good handwriting.
How do you calibrate?
okay, as far as calibration goes, that's really something we put in a help ticket and let the CTM deal with. There is an easy one that you can do on your remote. Your remote has a user button, and if you press that user button, it will automatically calibrate. That solves a lot of problems, takes about a minute. After that, don't mess with calibration anymore. There's other levels of calibration that can be done. You have Promethean boards? Some of you remember all the touching that went on? Okay, there's that level of calibration, and then there's even a deeper level of calibration, but y'all don't have time for that. So,
Well, yeah, because the CTMs have one type of thing, and then there's a whole other calibration that involves bringing in gadgets and stuff to do it, like they have to contact the company, so. I don't know, she's asking about what if you pull up the keyboard
on the line?
on the line?
Okay, well, right now we're not in
Because of how you.
PC Interactive.
You're not interacting with, yeah.
We're actually in the whiteboard.
Right.
So you're not going to have access to that keyboard here.
Yeah.
Okay,
Try
but
the
you
keyboard
could,
Easy Interactive maybe later.
yes.
We may be able to explore it when we get into the program, when we are interacting.
So is PC Interactive and the whiteboard just the difference between those two buttons up there? That and that?
Well, it gets a little deeper than that. There's PC Interactive and there's PC Free. PC Interactive means your laptop is connected, right? Because it can display this. PC Free means your laptop is no longer connected. But I can still use some of these tools. So if right now, Lori needed to use that laptop and go to a meeting, but she still wanted the kids in the room to do what was ever up here, she could take that laptop off the dock, walk right out the door, this is going to stay. Okay? But I can't browse and like I'm on the internet now
Right.
because it's not connected anymore. Okay?
And that's when you would then use that whiteboard mode, so the kids could use the basic tools that came with it on the whiteboard.
That
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Does this have the feature of stamps, you know?
It does not.
Okay.
This is what must say? It's limited. Did you use Active Inspire?
I was wondering.
And,
I feel it.
yeah. And we're about to show you the Easy Interactive. Did you want to add something?
You can download PDFs and upload it as a file.
You can open up anything on your desktop and display it and have students do whatever you wanted them to do on there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's a great thing. So if you, had the students do a worksheet or something and you want to review it all together. So if you think about, if you have an electronic copy of that, you don't really need your document camera to be able to show, because what you would do then is just open up your document
Whatever's
here and it
on
would
there.
display up here.
Just
And
open it up.
instead of you writing on the paper underneath the document camera, you'd have the students come up here and do that. I did that like if I did crossword puzzles with students and stuff, because then they were filling it in and teaching them how to do one or whatever. So instead of them coming up here, they're actually doing it on the board. You ready to get an easy interactive?
Yeah. Thank you for the nice segue. So you want to do more, right?
Yeah.
You're used to doing more, and you can. And that software is always going to be there for you. You can use it anytime you want. But you also have an additional piece of software that's going to be available to you. This is called Easy Interactive Software, and in order to find it on your laptop, what you need to do is click on the Windows icon, opens up, and all you're going to do, watch the magic, she's just starting to type. She didn't click on anything, she didn't even move her mouse.
Can't spell.
She's just starting to type, and as you start to type easy, it's going to bring up a list of suggestions, and that's where you're going to find that software. If you want to find the software like this every time, you need to write those directions down, can remember. But if you want this software to always be available to you and to be down here, so you just need to click. That's okay. Oh, did I do that? Did you do that?
No, I didn't do it.
Okay.
Hang on.
So we can put it in the taskbar so you never have to go find it again. So to put it in the taskbar, you're searching for it. Lori's going to right click and pin it. It's going to say pin. Pin to taskbar. It's
Right there.
okay. And then it's going to be down here, and you never have to go search for it again. Okay?
Okay, can you
Yes.
do that one more?
Yes. We'll do it again, Lori. Lori's going to click on the Windows icon.
You can also just push the Windows button on your keyboard.
Shortcut. And she just started typing.
Oh.
She didn't put her mouse anywhere. She didn't click on search. She just started typing.
It's right here, right click. You would choose pin to taskbar because we've already got it there.
Okay.
Easy Interactive software works a lot like the projector software. You have the PC free mode and you have the interactive mode. When you first open it up, it defaults open to a sort of splash screen and says, hey, what do you want to do? And automatically you'll know you have the software open because you have a command bar at the top and a toolbar at the side. They even look very familiar. Normally, when I open it up, I don't know what you do, Lori, but I just generally close it,
I just click on new either way.
whichever one you want to start with.
Yeah, that takes us to the screen. Is that not what you want to do?
We can go right to the screen. Okay? So Lori has brought us right to, anybody know what kind of mode we're in? What we're using? The whiteboard. It looks like a little whiteboard, and of course this looks familiar than what we just saw in the projector software. She clicked on the computer monitor, and now we're in the PC. Okay?
Which one do you want?
Let's start with the PC one since we're here. And I want to just briefly mention the toolbars. It looks the same, right? See anything different?
Yeah.
There are a couple things different.
There's a shape.
Shapes. Text. So now you're talking about the typing. Okay. Anything else? We have a select tool. Okay. And this comes, if you're familiar with Active Inspire, the handles on pictures and objects, the select tool can move those around, and we can take a look at that. And then also we have a little mouse up here. When I click on the mouse, that means I want my pen to act like a mouse, my finger to act like a mouse. Okay. Pretty much everything else looks the same. You have the same key down at the bottom, and over on that side, Lori can steal my toolbar. Get into it. Is it working for touch? Do you need a...
Pretend I just touched it with a pen.
Imagine her finger did that. Right? Okay. And I can steal it back. You can move these toolbars wherever you want. And you even have, just drag them, especially if you have little ones and you want to drag it down lower. Okay. You can move them wherever you want. This is called the command bar. And this is something that you didn't see in that projector software that we looked at. This is where all the goodies are.
Yeah.
This is where the good
bells
stuff
and
is.
whistles of this,
Okay.
basically.
So you've moved on from the basic projector software. You want to see what else can happen here.
The two icons that are above the colors of the pen, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. This was the pin. Remember how I talked about it kept moving? I can pin it down so it doesn't. Now it's always going to show the toolbars. It's not going to auto hide for me. I like for the kids to have as much real estate or as much space as possible, so I want it to auto hide. But you can pin it down.
Okay.
Okay. And then you see this is exit.
Okay.
Exit out of it. Okay. And they'll be the same on that toolbar as well. So let's go ahead and take a look at the command bar. And when you look at these icons, they're sort of familiar to you. You've seen icons like this before, so you probably already have an idea of what these things do. Home, take me to the home screen, right? My little save floppy disk. Everybody remember what a floppy disk is? I see some young faces. Maybe they don't, but we know that that's the save button.
If you don't, I don't want to know because I'm like way too old.
And what's great about this is you do have the ability to save some of the sort of a presentation you could create, or save the work that students do. So if you were creating electronic portfolios or wanted to have groups and rotations came through and you wanted to save that work, they didn't finish it, they need to finish it tomorrow, you could save it. We have page up, page down. That'll make more sense when we start to build presentations. And then we have the toolbox. That's a fun one. Okay. And then we have one that hurts me every time I look at it because I get my hopes up thinking what it is. It looks just like,
I thought it was a document.
I know,
Yeah.
friends, it's not.
Is it a hangman?
I mean, it's something good, but it's not what we think it is. It's actually a camera. Your laptops have a webcam, and you're going to have the ability to record yourself. I'm trying to think about the ideas, right? If you make a rotation, and what are the kids going to do here? You can make a little video of the directions that they can play over and over. What do I do here? Play the video. What do I do here? Play the video. Right? Frees you up from that station completely. Okay? So we'll take a look at that. I know the fabulousness, it just gets better.
But it's a little more complicated, but she's selling it really well. Because if you'll notice, the laptop's closed over here, so there's some stuff you got to do for this too. So, but So I want to show you what's in the toolbox because there's some fun things in here, and if you're familiar with Active Inspire, you're going to know exactly what they are. So in the toolbox we have zoom, right? Zoom in and out, so we can make things zoom in and out. And we have a tool called a spotlight. Looks like a little flashlight. Let's see. I'm going to just do it. It does this. So we only focus on this part of the screen. And what's nice about it, I can make it bigger. I can make it smaller. Okay? Drag it. one thing you have to remember about this, notice how she's doing it. If you are touching the circle and dragging, it's going to resize it.
Yeah.
To actually move it over there to the top corner, she's going to lift up her pen and go away from the circle to the black part, and that's what moves it. So you touch it to resize, you touch beside it to move it and drag it around.
Okay. And to get rid of it completely, you'll notice there's a little red X here, and I can turn it off.
Any of those tools that you open, to get out of them, find the X. It'll be somewhere usually in the top right.
That's one you see in Active Inspire.
Is the space inside the circle interactive? Can you touch and click on things inside the circle, or are you just resizing the circle?
It depends on what mode that you're in. See, right now I'm just writing on top of it.
Can you change your
You know, let's see.
I don't think you can get, if you had it set, try your finger.
Yeah.
Or change your pen to the select
Make
point.
sure.
Or the mouse, it would need to be the mouse,
If
wouldn't it?
I might need to be the mouse. And okay, so I think it's pretty yet
Okay,
brought it
so,
up.
yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
So you can do it.
Yeah, good question. See, learn something new again.
All right, and then in our toolbox we have the window shade. This one, I imagine it like kind of like a big piece of cardboard
Yeah.
that's over the screen, and I can reveal.
Think about your like morning
math
work or
problem.
stuff that you don't want them to see everything.
And then your solution. Okay. You can do it from the top to the bottom. You can do it on the sides.
Which one was that?
From the bottom.
You just have to grab it, yeah.
What did that look like again?
That's the
It's
little
like
drawing, not the
it's
pull
like a
down
window
shade.
shade.
What were those called, like Roman shades?
There you go.
Same
Little
Oh,
shade.
I see, okay. Looks like a shade.
Yeah.
We're going to leave you with resources today that go through
Yay.
all of these, so you'll still have, if you're not taking notes, it'll be there for you. We have, of course, the printer icon. We won't talk too much about the printer icon, but we also have a little toolbox that takes us into settings. You're probably not going to go in here and spend a lot of time, but I want you to know a couple of things that are in here, that if you decide to do certain things, you're going to want to come into settings. The first thing that it lets you do when it opens up is it lets you decide whether or not you want to make your toolbars larger or smaller. This is the normal size. I don't know that you want them smaller for your kids, but it's up to you. Okay? And you just put the dot in the one you want. Our spotlight, our flashlight was a circle, but you can make that a square if you wanted. And also, the other one, Lori, help me out on this color palette. Palette 1, palette 2, can I make a confession? I've tried both of those color palettes and I don't know the difference. I haven't found it. So if you find it, please, let me know. Maybe my vision is not seeing
Well,
the
you know
color.
what you're asking then, because if you can't tell the
So-
difference, I won't be able to.
So I leave that one alone, okay? And then the other ones I sort of leave alone, but the one that I think you might adjust is on the Save tab. There's a tab called Save. If you decide, hey, you're creating this video, or students have created some slides and you want to save them, or they're in the middle of a presentation, and you click on the Save icon, it's automatically going to save in the deep, dark depths of your laptop. You won't find it. I am not going to lie. You will be like, I know I saved it, where is it? And then you will give up and you will start over. So to save yourself from that, you can go here. We can change this to the desktop so that whenever you save something, it goes right to your desktop and you have easy access. So I recommend you clicking on the little tool wrenches and going to Settings and going to the Save tab and changing the location. Oh, see, it's deep dark down in there. Oh, that's a lot of clicks. Okay, desktop. Okay, right. So now it's going to the desktop. If I save any annotations, it's going to the desktop. Anything in white mode or whiteboard mode is going to the desktop. I'm going to click OK. Click OK. Okay, I feel better about that now. That's one I think really you will want to take a look at. Lori, were there any others in the Settings tab that you think they might be interested in? Okay.
It changes the highlighter color, yes.
Oh, does it?
Oh, someone hit. Is that the only thing?
And the little pin above it. Those two.
This one?
Yeah, that palette that pulls up with the little down arrow, those colors change.
That's so good to know. I feel. Thank you.
These are
Thank
ones
you. I was like, going to need an eye test. It's going to be a whole thing. I didn't want to go through it. Okay. Inside the toolbox, we also have the on-screen keyboard, which is right here. So you can also access it from Easy Interactive. And we have a camera, but I believe here isn't it copy?
No, I think it's,
Took a screenshot, right?
yeah, and then it would, yeah.
Okay, so what the camera does is it takes a screenshot and it puts it in the clipboard. So the clipboard is that place where, out there, and the only way you can see what's on the clipboard is to paste it into something. So I'd have to open up something. Let's make sure.
You could, yeah, because you can open, you could go to the other thing too, the white page.
That would be better. Will it paste for me? Paste?
Yep.
There it is. Now it is. So when you click that camera, it takes a screenshot. You're like, well, where does it save it? Where did it go? Where did it go? It's going on the clipboard. Okay? And it will stay there until you paste it into something else. You can't go find your clipboard and look at what you have in your clipboard, right? It's that kind of almost imaginary thing.
And just like anything else, you want to paste it then, because if you go copy something else, it can take over the clipboard, then it's going to paste that. So if you do that, you need to go paste it somewhere.
Well, can you use the snipping tool so that when you paste it, you can actually just cut out the part you want?
Yes,
and you don't
you could do
have
that.
to look at everything else that was on your screen?
Once you paste it,
Once
yes,
you
you can
paste
do
it.
whatever you want with it once you do
Okay,
that.
yeah, you'd have to paste it in.
So that's what the camera does, and then we have our help menu and our right click, but we have that on our pen, okay? And that's your toolbox. Now guys, I know our time, we're coming up on 5 o'clock. We're going over a lot of information with you. We have a couple more things that we want to make sure that you know about, and one is this one. When you click on this one, it's a video camera. And what Lori would have to do is open that lid, and it is the camera. And it may not, because now we have 3 going.
No, it's not.
it may not show here.
Yeah, let's not do that, because that can take us out of our stuff. So just know that's what you would have to do, because it can, we can.
When you have your laptop open and you click on it, you can record whatever's facing you. Yep.
Yeah.
Yes. And then you can save it. Here's the thing to remember about the camera. When you click record, the first thing it's going to ask you to do is, where do you want to save it? Choose desktop. Okay?
And it's gonna put a number in front of it every time that you can't take away.
It saves it in a .avi file,
Yeah.
and then it'll give you like a little countdown.
To get it started, I don't remember.
Is that voice right? Okay. Well, anyway, it's going to start right after you click save, then the recording starts. So then you just click stop, and it'll automatically save to your desktop. You can put that video file wherever you want, because it's a whole separate video file.
So which button was the save?
Okay. When you click on the camera and you want to start recording, if she's going to click record, the first thing it's going to do is a save box is going to open up. You title it, tell it where you want it to save, and then it will start recording. It doesn't start recording until you give it that information.
I would say if you really want to do record, this is a little more complicated. If you have an iPad in your room, record yourself on an iPad, upload and throw it up that way.
Okay.
Eventually you could get to this, but I'd say worry about the other stuff
Yeah.
before you get to
It's
this.
a tool that's available.
It's available, yeah.
Okay. So we're in the desktop annotation, and basically, if Lori were to take us back to whiteboard mode, they work the same as the projector software as it does here. The only thing is we wanted to show you that you had some more tools available. Lori, we have not shown them those two, and I need to show them those two.
that's right.
Please click on that. We have more backgrounds. Okay, so now with music teacher, we also have these three buttons. This one means if I click on that as a background, whatever is showing on my desktop is going to be brought in as a background. So if I brought up a PDF of something, I could click that and bring it in as the background. This is a file that I would upload, and this is going to be the picture.
We're fighting because she's
I'm
touching
sorry,
it with my mouth.
I'm getting away, I'm getting away. But the thing to remember about backgrounds is that you can annotate on the background and you can erase it over and over again. If you bring in a picture of a flower, you want them to label the parts of a flower. When you erase the label, the picture goes away too. So if you're bringing in things and you want kids to annotate on top, bring it in as a background and not a picture.
That's the toolbox?
They're right. They're the first one is the background, and then there is the one where you can bring it in as a picture.
One thing that we're not going to get to because we're trying to wrap this up too. In your presentation, there is a link on the bottom of one of the slides when it's talking about this in the presentation. Some of the stuff we're covering is in the presentation, but we pulled out of it. But we pulled. What is it doing? Is that me doing that? But I'm not doing anything. That's weird because look, it's making little.
Yeah, this could happen to you.
You see, I'm not
It's
touching it.
okay. It's okay.
But some of the stuff we're talking about is in the handout, the presentation. We went off the presentation to get into the software. There's a link on the bottom of it for those of you that teach those youngers and you're teaching handwriting. Gabby, your specialist here, she actually went into Excel and made one that you can pull it as your background because there wasn't one for handwriting. So she made one that you can use for handwriting. So just know that link, it's kind of something like bit.ly.handwriting page or something, I don't remember what it is, but there's a link to it in the presentation. So that's a really cool one that you can pull up and have that as your background. I don't know why it's doing that.
We're just going with that. It's not affecting me right now, though. Right now, we're still in the Easy Interactive software. The only other thing we want to show you before our last thing, Lori, let's show them. Yeah, let's show them that. You have the ability to. Can you do the slide sorter so they can kind of see that one? If Lori clicks on the slide sorter, the one that comes after the save, right there. Now start thinking Google Slides. Start thinking PowerPoint. This is where you can see them. Now they're going to go away unless she pins it to give more room. She's on slide 3 of 3 right here. She can add slides, move them around. So if you were doing a rotation, slide 1, you'd have whatever that group's doing. Slide 2, you could have whatever that group is
Picking
doing.
up something that won't let me hold
It sure is.
So, but see, they're over there, and so see how I have them numbered? You can reorder them sorry, I don't know what it's doing right now, it's acting funny.
It's after.
But just like in PowerPoint, how you can read all your slides.
Telling us.
That's right, it knows, you can re-export it.
And then you can save those, and you can save them as completed files, like JPEGs or pictures that you want to show parents, or you can save it as an easy interactive file, because tomorrow we're going to work on it again, and you can just bring it back up. But Gabby's going to be available to help you with any questions. The presentation that we have has all the resources in it for how to use the software. The links at the end give some troubleshooting.
I know, it's just I need to figure it out.
Any burning questions? We don't want to keep you.
Yeah, why is it doing
This is the link that you gave us at the beginning?
Yes.
Shows the presentation.
The presentation at the end, it has like the manual for the easy interactive software, all kinds of resources, and some troubleshooting tips. Yes.
Does it matter what we clean our boards with? Like, is it okay to use the Expo cleaner spray?
My understanding is that it is. Do you have anything different than that?
Okay.
Baby wipes are great.
Thank you for your attention.
Thank you.
Please enjoy your boards, use them.